at a time for your consideration. And now I'd like to turn the microphone back to Mara, our Executive Director.
Okay, and now the part of the evening that you've all been waiting for, the presentation of our awards. At this time, I'd like to invite Ashley Hines to the stage, who will introduce the recipient of our Community Service Award. This award is given to an individual who serves in leadership roles in civic and community organizations, makes significant contributions towards furthering the quality of life in our community, and serves as a model of community service to others. Ashley?
Thank you, Mara, and wow, my heart is so full. That was a lot to take in, but I'm grateful. So good evening, everyone. I'm thrilled to introduce my dear friend, Melissa Nicole Allen, to you. So to provide you with just a glimpse of Melissa's community impact, I'll use the lens of love. So first, Melissa loves her profession. Throughout the years, she has led in various industries. Her impact has been amplified through the transformative power of holistic real estate development. I've had the joy of knowing Melissa since I was a teenager, so yes, a long time. Over the years, I'd see her periodically. However, about 10 years ago, we got reconnected through a mutual friend, during which time I got to know Melissa and experience firsthand the influence she has on the Milwaukee community. By that time, Melissa had already completed the pretty infamous ACRE program here in Milwaukee through Marquette University. She had founded her company, Morris Development Group, LLC, which, just as a side note, is one of the first for-profit, minority, woman-owned real estate development firms in the state of Wisconsin. And yeah, we can clap it up, please. And she had earned her MBA, also through Marquette University. Not to mention, she was raising two really amazing young men, one of which who's here tonight, D'Angel and Gabriel. Before my friendship with Melissa, I admittedly didn't know or really pay much attention to buildings, and real estate development just wasn't on my radar. But Melissa has taught me so much, and that it's far more than bricks and mortar. She leverages affordable, sustainable, and high-quality buildings to foster pride and hope. Your environment matters. Living, working, and playing in beautiful spaces that illuminate the richness of your culture and the legacy within your community means something, and especially to people who have been really overlooked and excluded. Melissa knows this and is driven mindfully to create these amazing buildings in partnership with the communities they reside in. So Melissa uses her expertise to serve. Secondly, Melissa loves people. When you immerse yourself in community, and as Brian Stevenson says, you get proximate to the problems and to people who are suffering, you recognize that social issues have really deep roots. And for Melissa, she cares so much for people that she earned a second master's, believe it or not, this time in community psychology from Alverno College. Community psychology, just so we're all on the same page, is a subdiscipline of psychology. It is concerned to understand people and how they situate themselves in their communities. It's a way to prevent problems that are associated with living. It's the celebration of human diversity and the pursuit of social justice through social action. This is totally Melissa, absolutely. And over the last few years, she has devoted herself as a licensed professional counselor to understanding trauma and serving people who are committed to their healing and their mental health journeys. If this isn't enough, she recently launched an American family insurance company as further proof that she not only sees the challenges that our communities are faced with, but she becomes part of the solutions. So Melissa uses her intellect to serve. Finally, and most importantly, Melissa loves her family. I mentioned earlier she has 2 sons. She also has a very magnetic 6-year-old, Evelyn, who is here tonight. Say hi, Ev. So Ev, as we call her, was born with a blood disorder, and it's called sickle cell disease. Melissa focused immediately on educating herself on Ev's health concerns and learned that families of color in particular have significant barriers to treatments and cures for blood disorders. She used her pain to really fuel the launch of Evelyn's Circle, which is a group of friends. We come together and learn about sickle cell, and we've connected to support and advocate for families who are journeying to health. She promotes increased awareness of sickle cell disease and encourages blood donation and bone marrow registration through community events. So Melissa uses her heart to serve. Melissa knows that leadership is service. Her expertise, her intellect, and her heart are manifested in all that she touches. Melissa's love for her profession, for people, and family is evident in how she serves our community. I have no idea how she does it all, and I watch her truly in awe. She is bold, centered, and inventive. Her investments in Milwaukee will yield returns endlessly. I'm humbled to be her friend and inspired by her servant leadership. Melissa, congratulations. I think she can join us now on the stage to accept her award.
Good evening, everyone. Dang. Wake up. Get the coffee going. All right, good evening again. Ashley, you are a friend, biologically family to my children, and really a sister. And so we have definitely grown in our relationship, and I appreciate all of your words. So they were really cool to hear. Very different from the text messages that we send daily. I want to start, of course, by thanking St. Francis Children's Center for all the work that you do, and of course for thinking of me to be recognized at the event tonight. I, of course, want to also acknowledge Steve, John, and Melanie as well, my co-recipients this evening. And to my family, another child, who are here tonight, family who's not here, my friends who are here, thank you too for your ongoing love and support. Community service. So when I think about community service, I think beyond what it means to volunteer or to donate money. When I think about community service, I think about how am I in service to community. So Ashley did a great job sort of recapping all of the things that I do in my time, but I think they are a very particular way to express who I am and how I am in service to community. So Moore's Development Group is my baby. It celebrated 15 years this year in June. Over the last 15 years, it has invested $100 million in the city of Milwaukee with a distinct and direct commitment to really bringing pride and hope, to what Ashley said, to urban communities. So when you see a block and it may not be attractive, you have the choice to ignore it, or you have the choice to invest in it. And to me, when I pursue real estate development, I am in service to community because I turn blight into might. By building buildings that are respectful of the communities that they reside in, by having hallways that are beautiful, it instills a pride and a hope that we can never take away. When I think about being in service to community every semester in the spring when I'm teaching at Banquet University in the business school in the real estate department in my community-minded real estate course, I'm in service to community, to my students. So they're in their juniors and senior years in this tough program, and they learned how to calculate things and do finance and structured finance and whatever, the professional side of things. And so I was invited to create a course. And so I didn't want to do the textbook stuff because there is so much more to life than, of course we like making money, duh. That's why we're here, because St. Francis needs $100,000. So it's not about like shaming capitalism, but it is to say at the end of the day, we will be born and we will die. And so what do we do with our time? So when I'm at Marquette and I'm teaching this class to fledgling professionals, we use a community psychology book. We don't need to learn any more real estate. We've done enough of that. So then how do you tap into who you are and give the best of you to others, and in your professional careers, do better? When I think about being in service to community, when I obtained that second master's in psychology, and when I work at Children's Hospital as a therapist part-time serving ages 5 to 18 and their caregivers, how am I in service to community? I am supporting children to know that they are whole people, that their futures are before them, that anything is possible. So when I think about community service and being in service to community while I'm working with children at Children's Hospital, that's what happens. And lastly, I brought up Evelyn because she is cute. She is super cute, and she does want to speak at the end. Let's see if she'll do it. But Evelyn's circle is something that is important to me. Ashley talked a little bit about her medical condition, and now that she's 6, I got permission to talk about it as well, too. But in her life, she's had 22 blood transfusions. She was 7 months old at Children's Wisconsin when she received her first one. I was 33, she was 7 months, and I had no idea what was wrong with her. But then when they said, well, basically, she doesn't have any blood, like she needs some. And then as a natural question, as this bag of blood arrives and is flowing through your kid's body, you're like, hey, doctor, like, so where does this come from? Like, are you like buying this from Costco? Like, where are you getting this blood? And the answer was direct and simple. Donated blood comes from a willing individual who goes and donates it. That's the only way that a person that needs blood gets it. And so she had 22 of those people that we'll never know their faces, but had they not donated to her when her life required a refill that her body could not produce, she would not be here. So turning pain, turning our life circumstances into something beautiful is how I'm also in service to community. So again, with that, I say thank you to St. Francis for the recognition, and I thank you all here tonight. And I just want to say, October is my 6-month countdown to 40, and it's a heck of a party. Do we want to try?
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
Thank you for all coming and celebrating my mom.
Aww. Good job. You did it.
Great job, babe.
That was incredible. Thank you so much. And congratulations, Melissa. And now we'd like to welcome Mary Ellen Stanek, who will introduce this year's Children's Service Award recipients. This award is given to a person or persons who are dedicated to improving the quality of life for children in our community and are committed to helping young people overcome their challenges so that they can reach their greatest potential.
Thank you so much, Mara, and thank you for your leadership. You are truly an inspiration and a gift to our community, you and your team. And Nathan, what a wonderful story. Just so heart-touching and really inspirational. So, Greg Marcus, thank you for hosting us. It's great to be back at the Pfister. And I know, how about that? I said to my husband Scott recently, you know, I hadn't seen somebody in a couple of years. He said, Mimi, nobody's seen anybody for a couple of years except on Zoom and, the Hollywood Squares. So it is great to be back, and thank you for hosting us. It is now my incredible honor and privilege to introduce two spectacularly deserving people. And certainly Melanie and Steve Booth are so deserving of the recognition. Joining Dr. John Raymond and Melissa tonight, it's about as significant a roster of caring, kind, impactful leaders in this community. I can't imagine a better roster. So I only have a couple of minutes, but let me tell you a little bit about Steve and Melanie. So I serve as president of Baird Funds and co-chief investment officer of Baird Advisors, so I have a front row seat on Steve Booth, our chairman, our president, and our CEO. Steve is an incredibly accomplished leader, brilliant in terms of what he's able to accomplish in his professional life, but he has the head and the heart for all of this. And while his service to the community is significant, United Way, UPath, the regents of the Milwaukee School of Engineering, the list goes on, what you need to know that I think is most impactful is what he does to support all of us, the 4,600 of us who are Baird associates, and so proud of our leader. He listens, he cares, and he empowers and engages all of us to help in the community, both in terms of time, talent, and treasure, and always backs us up 100%. And then there's Melanie, right? What's there not to love about Melanie Booth? And a minute does not do justice. Her list of service is so long, there's just not enough time. First Days Children's Theater, University School of Milwaukee, Tree of Life Preschool, Friends of the Milwaukee Public Museum, Junior Achievement Women's Center, and on, the Milwaukee Rep. If you have a campaign you're doing, or a gala, or even just some project, you want Melanie Booth. Melanie is one of those angels who just makes everything happen and makes everybody better. She is truly an angel. And always at the center, she cares about the community, most of all with that lens of improving the lives and the well-being of families and children. So with no further ado, because I'm out of time, it is my distinct honor to introduce the 2021 Children's Service Society recipients of the award, Melanie and Steve Booth.
Wow, Mary Ellen, thank you for those wonderful comments, and I have to say you did capture the essence of my angel, Melanie, who is some of our friends said earlier tonight. I've been drafting off of Melanie here for 20 some odd years, but it's wonderful to be here with all of you, and thank you so much for coming out tonight to support.
Yes, thank you so much, Mary Ellen. That was just very, very kind, and thank you, Mara and Tara and everyone for being here tonight and supporting St. Francis Children's Center.
Melanie and I are very honored to receive the Children's Service Award. The list of previous honorees is incredible, and I'd like to thank St. Francis for adding us to that distinguished list. It's a very, very proud honor for us, and I have to say, even more importantly, just Melissa, listening to your story, hearing Nathan's story, and it's just very humbling for us to be, sharing the stage with you and Dr. Raymond and people who are truly on the front lines, making Milwaukee and our region a better place. And just thank you all, so much for everything you do for our community.
And we really didn't want to follow you, but that's just what they did. So,
It's always better to go first. But,
Anyway, St. Francis Children's Center obviously is an amazing place. They do so much for children with very critical needs. Our nice attachment to St. Francis is that our daughter Grace volunteered here for 3 summers when she was in high school. She's 26 now, so it's been a while, but she was so inspired and working with our, what did you say, our young heroes. And she would actually tell us the stories at the dinner table of her experience. And she was so inspired that she went on to write her college essay on a particular young hero that really grabbed her heart. And I'm happy to say she got into college. So that worked.
and she graduated from college.
Yeah.
And she's pursuing a career in psychology, which I think we have to trace back to some of her experiences
Right.
at St. Francis and also at Penfield. I mean, those are just such rich experiences for high school, for a high schooler to have. And so, and I guess just to wrap up on that front, we are so fortunate in Milwaukee to have these fantastic organizations like St. Francis, like Penfield, like others that are taking care of, 35,000
Amazing.
students, 857 in the past year. And your day will come again, because I'm quite confident that we're going to get you over your $100,000 mark here tonight. But Milwaukee wouldn't be what Milwaukee is without the great institutions and, frankly, all of you who are out here supporting institutions like St. Francis and everything that you do to make Milwaukee a better place for all of us and our children to live. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Steve and Melanie, for accepting this award and for sharing your story of your daughter's time at St. Francis. It's another huge thing, being able to work with young volunteers who can come into our classrooms, can see our programming. It has a ripple effect in this entire community, so thank you so much for sharing. And last but not least, and this is probably something that you will never see again, I, as Mara Ditchkens, am going to be introducing Mara Lord to the stage to introduce our final honoree, the recipient of our Humanitarian Award. This award goes to an individual who is a leader in our community, is dedicated to improving the lives of those in need, serves as a model of humanitarian service to others, and has been active in promoting human welfare and social reform. Mara.
Thank you, Mara. So what we found out at our table is that she has a sister-in-law named Mara, and I have a niece named Mara. So there were really 4 Maras represented at this table. I mean, that is so unusual. And I have a daughter named Mimi. Yeah. I have to say that just sitting at the table with Dr. Clark and Tamara and Mustafa and Marcia and Mara really has been extraordinary to learn about St. Francis Children's Center. And to hear that, Dr. Clark, you have been there since 1986, and you're missing the piano, but I mean, just the story, yes, right, he's been playing air piano for us. The stories that each individual at the table shared about St. Francis, in addition to Nathan's very personal story, has just been so incredibly grounding and touching. So that's the reason I'm here, though, is for Dr. Raymond. It is absolutely an immense honor to introduce you to this person who has changed my life and who has certainly changed the lives of countless others. Throughout the pandemic, he has been a trusted voice, a touchstone, a thought leader on the health and science of COVID-19. And his evidence-based wisdom continues to resonate across Wisconsin. In January 2020, if you can think back that long, Dr. Raymond came to his leadership team, including me at the Medical College of Wisconsin, and he said, I have been watching transmission of SARS-CoV-2. Do you remember when we called it that? right? And I've been watching this, he said, and we need to be prepared. And most of us looked at each other and said, what is that? But it was because of his leadership that we were prepared. And in mid-March, when the World Health Organization declared COVID-19 a pandemic, we were ready because Dr. Raymond had looked ahead, and he organized us to do what academic medical centers do extremely well. They prepare for the dynamic and unexpected nature of a pandemic. So you may know Dr. Raymond for his steady and calm, unassuming voice, delivering COVID-19 trends and predictions and answering questions from individuals very thoughtfully on Zoom or various other virtual venues. I have been fortunate, though, to know him as a visionary, a role model. There's some cute pictures up there, aren't there? A role model, a mentor, a scientist, and a healer. I'm going to take us back in time just for a few moments. And if you read in the what do you call it, the pamphlet, there is a lot about Dr. Raymond and his education and where he's worked, but I'd like to tell you a couple of things that you may not know. So I'm going to go back in time to 2011. Dr. Raymond spent much of the year in his car, and he drove the roads of Wisconsin to meet with every health and higher education leader across the state. A few of us were lucky enough to accompany him, but he drove, he pumped the gas, he bought the sandwiches and the gummy bears at Quick Trip, and through it all, he inspired this conversation about what Wisconsin families need to be healthy and how to provide more equitable access to the health care that families deserve. He designed his vision to build medical schools in areas where primary care doctors were needed most to serve the community, and to get those doctors into practice sooner and with less debt. MCW Green Bay and MCW Central Wisconsin were born, and today they have become national models for community-based medical schools. And in 2012, Dr. Raymond said, and this is a quote, "I believe that our responsibility does not stop with a community-based medical education program. Rather, this is where our responsibility begins." And many individuals tonight have talked about a lens, and I have to say this lens of compassion and responsibility is certainly that for Dr. Raymond. So he envisioned MCW as a health sciences university with a broad spectrum of healthcare disciplines, scientists and providers who understand both the business and the humanity of health and healthcare. In 2015, he introduced a school of pharmacy to enhance interprofessional education and to teach pharmacists to expand their scope of practice. In 2017, he set forth a vision to lead the national transformation of medical education. I'm telling you, this man does not think small. He introduced the Robert D. and Patricia E. Kern and Kern Family Foundation Institute for Caring and Character in Medicine, and the Kern National Network with partners including the Schools of Medicine at Mayo, University of Wisconsin, UCSF, University of Texas, Austin, Vanderbilt University, and Dartmouth. And in 2019, in partnership with the Greater Milwaukee Foundation and Ellen Gilligan and the Royal Capital Group, Dr. Raymond and MCW spearheaded the Thrive On collaboration and a vision for a Milwaukee that is equitable, healthy, and thriving for all. So if that doesn't help you or doesn't demonstrate that Dr. Raymond believes that every child, adult, and family deserve to thrive, I'm not sure what will, but I will tell you, working alongside him for many years, I know that he will always work to make it happen. He leads transformational change with integrity, with civility, and with compassion. He embodies humanity and is committed to equity not just in his words, but in his actions. And he also brings warmth, kindness, professionalism, and magnanimity to our community. His leadership through the pandemic, believe it or not, is just one point of light that we know in this gentle yet profound man. And I'm grateful that his light is radiating across our community for all of you. And if you have a chance to talk with him about something other than trying to change the world, ask him about his rescue dogs, Josh, Jazzy, and Oliver, right? Where he met his extraordinary partner, wife, and best friend Maggie, what he loves about the musical experience of Dream Theater, and whether he'll be catching the remake of Dune. So, my pleasure to introduce Dr. John Raymond.
Thank you, Mara Lord, for your generous, very generous introduction. And thanks to Mara Dutchkins and the incredible staff, the board of St. Francis Children's Center, the families, and most of all, the kids. It's really an honor to be here tonight with you at the Leading Lights Award Banquet in the beautiful Pfister Ballroom. Thank you, Greg. I think it's a little strange. Probably everybody's feeling a little strange being back together again, but it feels good. Especially to be inspired here by all of you in a room that's filled with warmth and compassion and love and great people. So I want to say congratulations and thanks to Steve and Melanie and Melissa. You're all very difficult acts to follow and inspirational. And to the missions of the St. Francis Children's Center for making our region a better and more equitable place to live, to grow, and to thrive. It's such an honor for me to be recognized by St. Francis, an organization which is dedicated to providing opportunities to children with special needs and their families, which all of you already know and we got to see firsthand tonight. Mara, you catalyze early, focused, personalized efforts to stimulate learning, immersed in care and caring and love. You reach out and connect those who would otherwise be isolated. The services that you so ably provide maximize the learning and the human potential of each child and their families. You're so supportive, and this leads to healthy families. And because of your steadfast investment in kids and their families and your unwavering dedication to your mission that's enriched our community for over 50 years, it's no wonder that St. Francis Children's Center has been recognized as one of the region's top workplaces. And I can see why tonight. You know, you were able to keep and provide life-enriching critical services going throughout the pandemic and to serve and to care for the youngest and most vulnerable individuals in our society, our children. And you inspire us with your dedication and the amazing resilience that you've shown, not just throughout your history, but especially during the pandemic. And as you know, it takes a team of talented people pulling together to accomplish something so meaningful and profound. And that's what you do at St. Francis Children's Center. And that's what we do at the Medical College of Wisconsin. I get to work with amazing people like Mara Lord. So I'm delighted to accept this humanitarian award and to share it with my thousands of colleagues, faculty, staff, and learners at the Medical College of Wisconsin. Like the St. Francis Children's Center, MCW works at the difficult and challenging but rewarding interface of education and healthcare to help people and their families to thrive. We've helped our community to endure the challenges of COVID-19, and you heard a little bit about that, and to come closer together through science and public health expertise, through consistent and candid communications, and by recognizing that we needed specialized strategies to reach those who've been disproportionately impacted by the COVID-19 pandemic, such as people and communities of color, the economically disadvantaged, children, and people living in rural communities. I also want to acknowledge my amazing wife, and thank you for mentioning Maggie, for sharing values and a passion for giving and supporting and loving those who need us the very most. And thank you, St. Francis Children's Center, for being a leading light in our community. I'm both humbled and inspired to accept gratefully the humanitarian award. Thank you so much.
John, thank you for those incredible words and congratulations. And congratulations to all of our very deserving honorees tonight. This has been an incredible evening, and I hope you all go away feeling inspired and feeling as though you were able to come together to support incredible children and teens who need us and who inspire us. And, you know, hearing Nathan's story was so uplifting, and there are so many of those. And so thank you for playing such an important role in our organization. I would like to remind you to please place donation envelopes back into the centerpieces at your table. And again, thank you so much for your support and for joining us. Good night, everyone.